Well, welcome to the BNI Effect, the home of amazing conversations with Brisbane BNI members, sharing tips on how you can get the most out of your BNI membership. My name is Tony Meredith, and ordinarily I'm a business coach, but today I'm your host and fellow member. Today's episode is episode number 31, and today's guest is Sudeshna Dasgupta. Sudeshna, welcome.
Thanks, Tony. It's an honor to be here.
It's great that you're here. Now, Sudeshna, let's kick it off by you giving us a brief overview of you, your business, and the main services that you offer.
So my business is called Dust Capital Finance, and what we really do is help businesses with their business finance needs, trying to make things simple for even complex requirements that businesses might have. And that might include anything from buying commercial property or business loans of any kind to grow their businesses, overdraft facilities, trade finance, equipment finance. If they want to purchase NDIS properties, room accommodation, property development, we do holistic business finance solutions,
And
as
how long
much as little.
and how long has Das Capital Finance been going for?
So I've been running my business, Dust Capital Finance, for about 6 years now. Um, Unfortunately, I've been in the industry a little bit longer. So without giving away my age, probably going on to 30 years industry experience now.
Well, it's a great thing, right? So we're not here to talk about your age, but it's a great thing that you've got 30 years of experience in the industry, and now you're able to apply that to your own business. So, what prompted you to leave corporate world and start your own business?
Look, I have always wanted to do my own thing for a while. You do get to a point where you want to be able to manage your hours, your time, and how much time you spend with family. That was a big driver for me. And that's what made me finally take the leap.
Amazing, and here you are. So, where does BNI fit into all this, Sudeshna?
It's quite funny. When I left the corporate world, I didn't even know BNI existed, never heard of it. And the first week that I started working outside of the corporate world, I bumped into an accountant friend, and he insisted I absolutely had to attend his BNI chapter, which I did, and it was an eye-opener. So serendipity, I guess. I couldn't join his chapter, but I did end up joining BNI Oasis, and 6 years later, still here.
And what was it about that first time that you went to BNI that caused you to go, you know what, I need to be a part of this?
It was the energy in the room. It was the idea of having all these people building each other up, which was a really different concept to any other networking event I'd ever attended. I had been attending a lot of them, and it was just something I thought, wow, I'd love to be part of this.
And when you talk about other people building each other up, and you said that it was existing in BNI and not in the other, meetings that you had attended elsewhere, what is that when you talk about building each other's up?
I think it's the whole concept of the giver's gain philosophy that is such an intrinsic part of BNI that you look for people that you can refer business to, knowing that you're then becoming a trusted advisor for your clients because you're helping to make sure that they get looked after. You do it, and funny thing is, those referrals start coming back at some point, don't they? Because I think giver's gain is a really good karma.
Amazing. So giver's gain, which is also referred to as the law of reciprocity, and that is that when I give business to you or to someone else, then the universe has an uncanny way of helping that business come back and find you. Um, how has being part of a BNI chapter influenced your approach to networking?
I'm always looking for people I can work with who share the same kind of values in terms of looking after people and clients, being authentic, being genuine, giving good service. And I'm looking for people who are a fit with me and my clients in that respect, because at the end of the day, the people that I work with is also part of my reputation. It reflects on me. And I know within BNI that it is easier to find like-minded people. And I think it's a win-win situation for the people who get the service at the end.
Yeah, and like you said, it's your reputation at stake. So, behind you is an enormous amount of people that you know that, for example, that I don't, and then vice versa. Behind me is an enormous amount of people that I know that you don't. And so it's about, you and I building that know, like, and trust relationship so that I'm happy to then provide you access to my network and then, hopefully vice versa.
Correct.
Yeah, amazing. How do you measure the success of your participation in BNI, Sudeshna?
It's a funny thing. I work in finance, so I should be all about the numbers. I'm not. When it comes to things like this, to me, it's about the satisfaction that clients have. The you know the the appreciation that they end up having for the work that's been done for them, for you helping them out. And yeah, I can always write loans any day, but I really, really, part of my why is being able to see people satisfied and happy. And BNI really helps me achieve that. Um, I have a funny story, if you've got a moment, Tony.
Please, yeah, please. I love
Um,
funny stories.
I had one of the very early on in BNI, I had this experience where I had a client come to me. He'd been let down by his current broker. He'd also that day had been let down by his solicitor as well, right? Because he had this property that he really wanted to buy. His broker hadn't been able to help him. They were very slow. He came to me that morning and he said to me, "Oh, I'm still waiting for an extension on my finance calls, and my solicitor isn't picking up the phone." 3 p.m. that day, he rang me back. He says, "I don't know what to do. My solicitor is still not picking up my phone, hasn't answered my calls. I don't think he's even looked at my contract. I really don't want to miss out on this property." So I reached out to a BNI's solicitor was in contact with. By 5 p.m. that day, he had extended. He'd been in touch with the other side. He'd got the extension, and we were able to get that client across the line. So that is the power of BNI. And if I had rung up a random solicitor and asked them to drop everything and do that, wouldn't have happened.
No chance. Well, that's amazing, and it's a testament to the connections and the relationships that you had built.
Yes,
Amazing.
I'd not
How
like to
has
think so.
Absolutely. How has your business evolved since joining BNI?
It's certainly grown. We put on a second employee recently, um, and the wealth of knowledge from other people in the chapter were able to help, whether it's for security and IT purposes or bookkeeping or accounting or everything. It's the advice that I receive. So it's not just about my clients, not just about referrals for business, but it's also about personal growth for me, for my business as well. And BNI field has made all the difference. I get about 20% of my business from BNI, from referrals, possibly up and down a little bit more sometimes, but at the bottom end of it, definitely at least 20% of my business comes from BNI now. Being an ex-banker, concentration risk and all, I'm happy with that number. I don't want it too much reliance on one area.
No, I love it. And you talked about personal growth. So just talk me through what that means, Sudeshna.
So, in terms of personal growth, just the amount of knowledge that exists in the room, there is business coaches, someone I know who's helped me through a lot of things, both personal and business goals, recognizing them, deciding what to prioritize, how to move forward. And so and then there are friendships that you develop and people who will come out and help you, no matter what. So that is fantastic.
Amazing. What advice would you give to new BNI members to make the most out of their BNI membership?
Do a lot of one-to-ones because that is a big thing. It's nice to be able to have concise, precise, and amazing 45 seconds or 30-second spiels at the actual BNI meeting, but you can't really develop that deeper understanding of what the other person does or what you do or what would be the ideal clients until you have those meetings face to face and have those interactions often, funnily enough, you seem to get more businesses that way.
And when you say funnily enough, I mean, let's talk about that because there'll be people listening, Sudeshna, who are exploring whether BNI is a good fit for them. So when you talk about, one-to-ones and funnily enough, you get some business from them, what do you mean?
I used to have an ex-boss who said to me one day, um, networking is a contact sport. The more you play, the luckier you get. And BNI is an amazing sports arena for networking. It's not just the existing members that you have access to. So if you've got a chapter of 30 members, you're looking at 30 plus all their connections that you could potentially benefit from. But you're also looking at the wider BNI chapters, not just within your city. It depends on how you do business. We've been approached by people internationally, and we do have people who visit internationally. So the world's your oyster. It is how much you make of it, how much time and energy you're willing to devote to the growth of your business, how much it means to you. Now, if you know anyone who doesn't want their business to grow, that's different. But if you do, this is a good place.
Well, I love it. What's next for your business, Sudeshna? You just mentioned that you put on another staff member. So what exciting things are happening for you and DAS Capital Finance?
Well, we'll continue to grow. We're working on streamlining some systems, and at some point, I'm probably going to update that website of mine that I've been meaning to for a while. Um, I I get all of my business from referrals, from warm referrals. I don't rely on any paid advertising of any kind. So I've never bothered too much with my website, but it probably needs a little bit of an overhaul.
How do you see your relationship with BNI evolving as your business grows?
I'd like it to be deeper and broader. So, and by that I mean I would like to deepen existing and strengthen existing relationships and maybe some of those opportunities that I have not taken up of broadening my network in terms of visiting other BNI chapters, taking advantage of other BNI networking opportunities where you have people from so many different areas and chapters. That would be something I would have on my list. I'm a bit time poor, haven't done as much of that as I would like. But now that we have some more employees on board, maybe it'll free up some time for me to do that.
Yeah, and it's a good point you make, Sudeshna, is that BNI is a global business, but if we just talk about Brisbane, there would be close to 40 chapters across Greater Brisbane. And so, like you said, part of your BNI membership entitles you to go and visit those chapters as frequently as time will allow, which is a real benefit. It's not just the chapter that you're in. There's so much more out there just in Brisbane alone.
Yep, absolutely.
If you could share one piece of wisdom with our listeners, whether that be BNI members or not, what would that piece of wisdom be, Sudeshna?
Oh, goodness. It's something I often say to myself. It's life is never easy, but it's as simple or as difficult as you choose to make it. So if you choose to make life simple, it is. And yeah, and moving forward, it's basically, I guess, focusing on what you want to be. They talk about manifestation and things like that these days. I'm not up with all the jargon. You probably know better, Tony.
I certainly do. Now, I won't get into the specifics, but effectively what you're saying is business by design. And that is that, anyone can create whatever business that they want. They first need to get clear on what that business is, what that looks like, what are their goals, start with the end in mind. And then it takes hard work, and so, like you're saying, there's a simple process to follow. It's just not easy because we get caught up in our own headspace along the way.
Trust you to summarize it beautifully.
There you go. How can listeners learn more about your business or get in touch with you, Sudeshna?
By my website, Does Capital Finance. I'm also on Google My Business and LinkedIn as well. And my contact details are there. So if they'd like to pick up the phone and give me a call, that'd be fantastic. Happy to help.
Amazing. So thank you, Sudeshna. Well, look, that wraps up another exciting episode of the BNI Effect. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. And I want to give a massive thank you to Sudeshna Dasgupta for sharing with us her insights around business and her BNI journey as well. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to subscribe where all good podcasts can be found and subscribe to the BNI Effect. And please leave us a review. Thanks for listening.